Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
And I'm Zach.
Jeff is here in spirit.
In spirit, yes.
We even have a little Jeff doll with an Avery beer.
Yep. We'd pour one out, but that would be poured directly onto your descent box, which I think you would not appreciate.
I would not appreciate that. That is correct.
Gotcha. It's fine. You just wait for the Act 2 box, and then you dump everything from in here into that one, and it'll be okay.
We'll see. But first there's an expansion. Then there's Act 2.
Yeah.
So I can't ruin that box for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to make this short and sweet because it's just Zach and I, and Zach's got places to be. So
things to buy, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to dive right into what we've been playing. Zach, would you like to start?
Sure, yeah. So over Wednesday last week, we had game night.
Yes.
And so I played two games. The first one, last week we were talking about the Unsettled expansion.
Correct.
And I was like, I want to back this, but it's also a not insignificant amount of money. And I would like to at least have played the game before I back the expansion. That isn't supposed to get here for over like a year and a half or however long it's supposed to take. I want to say like November 2023.
Look at you being responsible and trying before you buy.
Yes. Yeah, that's me, Mr. Responsible. But I was talking to Jeff and I was like, we should play Unsettled this week so that I can see if I actually want to buy it. And so we decided to play it.
Okay.
So it is a cooperative survival game. It's similar to Time Stories in that the game is like a console. It's a base that you then put. Each of the scenarios are different planets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are different planets you can put in, and then there are scenarios within those planets, but each planet handles things very differently, right? So there's one, the one that we played on, which was the base one that it suggested, the intro one more or less, was very fungal based. There's a lot of fungus and things related to fungi. Whereas there's other ones that are like about like fire planets, ice planets. There is one in the expansion that we talked about where you're on your ship, but there's an AI that's going crazy. So like they all have a bunch of different themes to them, and just wanted to give it a try. It is definitely a humor forward game. If you like puns, there's a lot of them in here.
What if you like good puns but don't like bad?
There are no bad puns. The bad puns are the best puns. It's either good, it's a good pun, or it's a amazing pun. There's nothing else. But it plays 2 to 4 players.
Okay.
It was Jeff and I, and then we had someone new-ish that she joined us. She was sitting there by, and we're like, hey, we're about to play this. Would you like to join? Online, it says it's best at 2, but it was
being sociable.
Yeah, being sociable, and then also it's like 3 and 4. It's still favorable.
Okay,
but it's still favorable. But there is, I wanted to see how it played first, and I was like, let's not do a full 4. Okay. So we just did just one extra person for 3.
Okay, cool.
I had the actual character you are doesn't really matter, so to speak. Like you have a little symbol like to show yourself, and it's funny to the faces. They have like a regular face and then like a sunglasses, like a cool face sort of thing. The guy that I had star sunglasses, so I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do those.
There you go.
Yeah. But everybody is basically doing the same thing. On your turn, you have 3 dice that are called focus because you don't actually roll. They're not actually dice. They are dice shaped, but you don't roll them or anything like that. They have a sequential pattern of 0 to 3 focus on it, and you're using those because as you focus on tasks, you roll the dice down, or you move them, you shift them down, and then once it gets down to like 0 time. Or 0 focus, it starts eating up your time if you don't rest those dice. So it's all about like balancing which ones you want to do. But you use those focus to do specific actions in the game.
Sure.
There so on your turn you can always move.
Yes.
And it is on a like a generated tile board that is different for each of the scenarios, I'm assuming.
Sure.
And all of those cards are unique to the planets themselves. Like a majority of the game is different depending on what your planet you're playing is. So the one we were playing with, we had the different areas that you're going to that are flipped over that as you go through, you're going to explore them via moving. You can move yourself or you can move a drone.
Okay.
Or it's not a drone. I forget what she's called, but it's like a little robot that goes with you. And moving onto the different squares, it takes a certain amount of like time or effort. So it's like planning on do stuff because throughout, as you take a certain amount of every turn, you're going to move this time counter. And every time the time counter goes towards the end, everybody gets a level of exhaustion.
Sure.
And once everybody is fully exhausted, then you lose the game. So it's that's your time limit. And so you're trying to skirt around that time limit whenever you can. So there's like certain things that can, you can get upgrades for your like scientific know-how. They're called breakthroughs, and you can use them on your turn or on other people's turns to, you can use them to like move you or get moved by the robot or stuff like that, but like getting away from those time restrictions.
Okay.
That so you can get more done on any given turn. But you're going through, you have a set of objectives that you're just trying to go. So like the one that we did, it was like establish a laboratory and like build 3 structures. We did that, and then it went on to the next one that was like, hey, these little like there are spore clouds everywhere, but there's these little tiny tentacle things that are flying around, and they like to eat those. So you should go bring them to the clouds, to the spore clouds, so that they stop fucking with you. Because on that specific one, anytime you started your turn with a spore cloud, you got a distress, which it basically hurt you in some way. And so the little tiny guys flew around, got rid of those, and then it was like near the end, it was like, hey, now they've all evolved into fucking like winged tentacle terrors. And so now you have to just
as they do,
yes. So then we had to, because this was all about like us trying to get food to eat. So we then had to make edibles. And then we did that. And then it was just run back to the ship. And if everybody survived, then we won.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. I will say this is one of the most interactive cooperative games that I've seen in a while, because like the amount of stuff you can do on your turn is almost dwarfed by the amount of stuff you can do on other people's turns, like
neat.
helping them. Because so a lot of there are the 6 different actions that you can take that take the focus die, and then there is you can move yourself, and then you can move the robot. But then there's all these free actions that you can do that as you like basically research, you get through breakthroughs, and breakthroughs have different things you can do. So like the one of the ones was it was like a magnetic tractor beam from the robot that like you can spend a data cube to have that robot pull somebody, and it ignores the time, like the movement restriction thing. And it's only on, you can use that once per turn, but everybody's turn is like a turn.
Sure. It's
not like a round or anything like that. So it's like you could use it on yours, I could use it on mine.
Damn.
Jeff, yeah. And near the end, it's like if everybody gets like 4 breakthroughs, that's like 12 different things that you people can do on other people's turns, and it's really it got not convoluted but just very complicated. It was like, okay, I remember at one point I was telling a new person, I was like, we can totally do it with you go with what you want to do, but I just to show you how these things can work together, you can move the robot here, you can have it you can have it search for data and then organic stuff, and then you can grab the organic stuff, and then you can use my ability to move you here, and then you can use the robot's ability to move you like it was like you can do a lot of like chain reaction sort of things to get a lot of stuff moved on one turn.
Okay.
And I definitely enjoyed it. Near the end for this one, if you got hit with 2 distresses, because it's all about spore clouds and fungi and stuff like that, you got hallucinations. which we only saw one, and that one was like I had to spend it. Basically, it was like forcing me to do something. So for this one, it was just like I had to spend all of the movement that I could that round getting to the robot, and then once I did, I basically I removed its singular ability from the game, because every game it has an extra special thing it can do off on the side that you can take your focus and place it on there to do. But this one, it was like it's soothing voice, and so I was like, oh, I have to go up there and basically I just rip its voice box out.
Dark.
Yeah. But it was still enjoyable. I think you should definitely try it at some point. It's
Sure.
like I said, it's very cooperative, which is good. But I do like how it stresses a bunch of stuff. Specifically, it's like what you do, like nobody can tell you what to fucking do. It's like on my turn, you can offer to do stuff. I can say like, hey, Adrian, you could do this if you want, but it's like it's still up to you whether or not you actually do those things. So it's trying to, obviously it doesn't try and stop that doesn't try and like stop quarterbacking or anything, but always like being like people are their own person.
Yeah.
And everything. it's all about the cooperative there is good.
Sure.
So I played that.
Okay.
We ended up winning that one, and then right after that, Kaiser was coming by every once in a while to talk to us, and he was wanting. It looked like he was wanting to play a game with us, and so once we were done, he came by and we played a quick game of Sprawlopolis.
Okay, sure. The little ball game.
Yes, cooperative. Although it looks like he has enough, like he has everything for it. So it's a cooperative. Like I think there's 18 cards in there normally.
Something like that, yeah. And then there's like 6 expansions, and then there's a standalone expansion.
Yeah, so there's a standalone expansion. There is an expansion that combines both of them. There's an expansion that adds like beaches, that adds a Reptar, Godzilla sort of thing,
like UFOs.
Yeah, like aliens and things like that. There's one that makes it competitive, so everybody's building their own. And
I don't know if I have the competitive one.
It's called like Interstates or something like that. But it seems like it's a little game, but it seems like you can add a lot to it.
Yeah.
But it's it's cooperative. You've got is it 4 different? Yes, yeah, 4 different areas on the card that it's like parks, industrial, commercial, and then real estate, or like where residential. That's what the word is. And each of these cards have like different orientations of how roads go on the board or on the card itself. And then each of the cards also have a unique goal at the end, or on the other side, the flip side of it. So you start off with just dealing 3 of those out. So you're getting random objectives random scoring objectives every time you're playing. And then on your turn, you're just going to have like 3 cards in your hand. You start with 3 cards. Or the starting player starts with 3 cards, and they choose one of the cards to put out. You can cover parts of other cards, but you can't entirely cover a card with one. You can put it right next to a card, but you can't put it like diagonally adjacent. It has to be orthogonally adjacent. But you place a card down, and then you take the 2 cards you didn't play and hand it to the next player, and then you draw a new card, and then it just goes around until all the cards have been played, and then you score. And then you get negative points for every road that you have on there. So you're trying to have the roads connect as much as possible, making one. But then there are some objectives that are sort of what's the opposite of that basically. Like counterproductive for that. Like one of the ones we had was if you had a road that started on a park and ended on a park, you get 3 points. But with that, you get -1 point because that's an additional road that you've made, right? So we had to like, I think we got like 5 or 6 roads connected to parks that way, but that's minus 5 or 6 points for that. And then it's we had one that was Skid Row, that it was residential areas next to 2 industrial areas, and you got points for that. And then industrial areas that were diagonal to them, to other ones. And so another major point on how to get points, another major way to get points in this game is like your biggest size of the different types. So like your your biggest residential, your biggest commercial, that sort of stuff are going to get you points that way.
Mhm.
So this one was very counterintuitive towards that because we were like, oh, we need to have industry like in diagonal spots as much as possible, especially with the commercial stuff. So like we didn't get many points from that, and we ended up they have numbers on each of the cards, and then you add those numbers up, and that's what you're trying to beat. Just like in cartographers. Like when you do the solo for that.
Yes.
And it added up to 37, I think, on ours, and we got 36, so we barely fucking lost.
Oh, bummer.
It was a number. Yeah. But it's still fun. I enjoy it, and I definitely would play it again. And I always appreciate those smaller games that work well for that.
Yeah, it works fine as a solo game, too. I
could say
played
that,
it solo, and then I think I played it two-handed.
Gotcha.
Just to get a feel for the passing it back and forth when I got it. I got the Agropolis. And then the pledge I did for it was like the get everything pledge. So I probably have Interstates. I just didn't realize it was in there.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. A lot of the expansions I couldn't get to fit nicely in the wallet games anymore.
His seemed to, so you might want to talk to him to be like, how'd you do it?
It almost seemed like it needed to be a deck of cards.
Gotcha.
Like a small deck box.
Yeah. We had like
a
six
small deck.
He had like 6 different wallets, like wallet ones. So maybe that's
maybe.
So, yeah.
Maybe he's got them spread out in there somehow different or something. I don't know.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. I didn't play a whole lot. I was on vacation. I'll talk about that during banter. But I did play, as is becoming very tradition when I'm somewhere around Megan's mom, we play Legendary Encounter Alien, even though she has no interest in the movies, doesn't care about the movies at all.
Really?
Yeah. The theme has no effect for her. She just likes the cooperative, like, gameplay of it.
Okay.
So we did Alien 3 for this one, which I think of the 4 people that were playing, it was me, Megan, her mom, Melody, and her brother, Brian.
Yeah.
I think of the 4 people, I'm the only one who has any real knowledge of Alien 3. So, like, all of the references of everything were lost on everyone.
Yeah.
But I was there for it, and I thought it was great because I'm one of the people who unapologetically love Alien 3.
Well, you should be like, hey, that's Tywin Lannister. Maybe that'll help somebody.
Yeah. No, see, this one's funny because his IQ, they call him 86 because that's his IQ. That's why he's called 86. Oh, you don't get it. Okay. But we ended up winning. Unsurprisingly, we play pretty generous when we play with some of her like less gamery family.
Right.
Like we didn't end up having to use it in this one, but we typically will play like you get a full like until your turn to kill a face hugger instead of like just the next turn, like things like that.
Okay.
Just because her family plays a lot of like they play Catan typically where they do friendly robber. Where like you don't have to put it on someone's spot, you can just put it on the desert to avoid putting it on anybody. That's just the way she was raised. They're nice people. They're
Gross.
nice Yoopers.
Ugh.
If they played mean, they would have all murdered each other in the cabin in the snow. It would have went full Shining if they played mean. But that went well. And then I also we taught let's see, I'm trying to remember who we taught what. Me and Brian and his girlfriend Cass taught Megan cribbage. And then Megan, Brian, and I taught Cass euchre. And those went about as well as you can expect them to go for new players. Although actually Megan won hers. Her and Brian, we did teams for cribbage. And Megan won her first game of cribbage.
Okay.
With her
that
brother.
Was Megan's first game of cribbage?
Yeah, she could not remember ever playing before.
Huh.
She's been around when I've played it, so she had a vague idea. But
gotcha.
Yeah, there was some guy. We were doing this like at the ski place that we were staying in a very public area. We were playing euchre, and he came around. He's like, "Oh, you're playing fucking euchre? Oh, that's awesome! If you want to have some more people to play." He's like, "And I know a great like euchre drinking game. It's called this," and I like looked it up, and it's like some University of Wisconsin drinking game called like Up and Down the River. That like. It's not euchre the drinking game. It's a trick-taking drinking game that is just, it seems like a very good way to get very drunk. Like one of the key rules is when it gets back around to the dealer, they have to bid whatever it would be to make the total number of bids one more than 13 so that there's always at least one missing bid.
Huh.
Or one, like that's for like a 4-player game.
Yeah.
You know, because but yeah, and you play with the whole deck. And so it's like, this is nothing like euchre. What are you talking about, dude? And then he came by very excitedly and was talking to us at some other point. And we've moved full on into Banter, by the way, at this point. That's all I played for games.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot quicker than I was expecting.
Yeah. I think that was everything because I said Alien.
Well, yeah, I guess it was. It just was like.
Oh, we played Cartographers, but it was Cartographers.
Yeah. I guess it was just like you going. Oh, we have played these, and now we're going nuts.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there wasn't much to say about any of them. They were learner games of euchre and cribbage. Yeah. Not a lot to say there. Alien, I feel like I've talked about a bunch recently. It's a great game. Yeah, love it. And then Cartographers, also great game. Love it, but not a whole lot to say there. I'm glad Jeff approves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where I was playing all these games. It was my birthday on Monday, which is also part of why we didn't record because I was flying on my birthday, which sucked. But I went on vacation for my birthday. We've now done this was the fourth year in a row of like snowboarding vacation for my birthday. So we went later, Jeff. So we went up to the UP of the UP. Like we went way up to the tippy tip top of it's the Keweenaw Peninsula, which is the far northernest peninsula of the Upper Peninsula, to go snowboarding up there. Which a lot of people are like, wait, you left Colorado to go snowboarding in Michigan and you considered that like a positive thing? And I'll admit I was a little bit hesitant. Megan had sworn up and down that it was legit. I was a little bit hesitant, but whatever. One of the things she sold me on was that this place has no groomed runs at all, and that it's lots of tree skiing, and that they get 300 inches of snow a year, which like rivals most Colorado resorts. So we went up there, and sure enough, it totally lived up to the hype. The resort is called Mount Bohemia, which I might get murdered now for actually like saying the name on some kind of a national broadcast because like they're all very excited that it's a little known secret. It is also just a pain in the ass to get to, so it's never going to be super popular. But you have 2 lifts total, and then a lot of the run. It's like one mountain, and they own the whole mountain, so you can ride down any side of it. And it's got a road running almost the entire perimeter, and you just ride down to the road and then wait, and they just have like 4 buses that run laps, picking people up and taking them back to the lifts.
Okay.
It was incredibly gnarly terrain. They have big signs everywhere that's like no beginner access, like no beginner train, like do not fucking no beginners. They're like, even if you're like used to riding school marm, like you think, oh, I ride Keystone, like greens and blues, I can come ride this shit. Like, no, it's all like they had 1 blue and the rest are like, and then like 3 or 4 blacks. Everything else was like double or triple black. It was some of the gnarliest terrain I've ridden. Lots of moguls, fucking skiers and their moguls. But it was a lot of fun. Had a blast. We stayed in a ski in, ski out cabin. It's the first time I've stayed in others that have said that they're ski in, ski out.
Does that just mean like you
can ride right to your front door, and then you can put on your board at your front door and like ride to the lift.
Oh, okay.
Like you're like kind of on the path. I've definitely stayed at places that have claimed that before, but usually it's like you can ride to the road and then hike like a little ways and like hike back a little ways to the lift or whatever. Yeah. This is the first one that like legitimately we ended most days by like snowboarding up to the front door and taking off our gear and stepping inside. It was great.
Yeah. That reminds me, I've had stuff like that when my grandparents were staying at a campsite in, let's say, Arizona, and they're like, it's a stone's throw away from Arizona River, Colorado River. I don't know, whichever one like is like one of the borders on there, or like near Yuma. I don't know.
Okay.
That was like a kid. Anyway, from like a big river, it was a stone's throw. And I remember as soon as I got there, I was like, I looked at it, I picked up a stone that was nearby, I threw, and it like hit the very edge of the water. And I was like, all right, you win this one.
Taking your figures of speech literally.
Yeah.
They had a huge hot tub, like a 30-person hot tub, like right down by one of the lifts.
That's a giant hot tub.
Yeah.
Is that not just a spring? Like it's an actual hot tub?
It was a hot tub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then they had a warm pool that was like a swimming pool that was like heated to like 85, 90 degrees. Okay. So it was still pretty warm. especially like when you were being active. Like we played. There was a bunch of people there, and so like we were playing like pickup games of like water volleyball, a bunch, and then it had a huge Finnish sauna. So the Finnish sauna is you're supposed to go sit in a sauna for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then you go dunk in the 60-degree cold water pool for like 60 seconds to a minute, and then you go and like sit inside in the lodge or over by the bonfire and just kind of like neutralize, and you do that 3 times. We didn't do that at all.
Who says you're supposed to do that?
The Finnish.
Okay.
It's like a Finnish health treatment. Like it's supposed to invigorate you and, gets everything all, I don't know.
You didn't want to be invigorated?
We did one time going from the steam room into the 60-degree pool, and it was horrible. It was the second worst experience I've had with cold water in the UP in my entire life. The first being when Megan convinced me to jump into Lake Superior in like April or May, which... It's still very cold in Lake Superior in April or May. But it was a bunch of fun. The first day going up there, we were driving. I don't pee in either saunas, or especially not a sauna. Like, what is wrong with you for being in the sauna?
That's very humid. You're gonna get that urine smell all over the place.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, driving up there, we drove to Michigan, which is like an 8-hour drive, and then we drove the 3 hours up there. And on the way up there, Megan was navigating, and at one point she has me like, "Hey, turn in." She's like, "Okay, you're gonna turn here," and I was like, "Here?" And she's like, "Yeah, right here. Like, turn now." And like, so I'm turning into this like motel, like in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's clearly not a mountain anywhere nearby.
You guys drove there, right?
We drove. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we're pulling in, and I'm like, "Okay," and she's like, "Surprise, happy birthday," and I'm like, "What's the surprise? We're supposed to be going skiing and staying in like a trail side cabin. Like, why are we pulling into this shitty motel?" Turns out the shitty motel's office, not only is it part of the shitty motel, they do offer snowmobile rentals.
Ooh.
So her and Cass, Brian, her brother, his birthday was like a week before. So the two of them, Megan and Cass, planned a snowmobile trip for our birthdays, for a late birthday for him, early birthday for me. So we rented 2 big snowmobiles. Then we went on like 100-mile each way. So like 200-mile round trip snowmobile drive.
How long did that take?
Like 5-6 hours.
Okay.
Like we were doing like 50 to 60 on the snowmobiles, like for a good chunk of it. Like they go fast.
Did you have to like refuel at one point, or did
yes.
it? Okay.
Yeah. We stopped to get gas, and then we dropped them off with like half empty tanks, and we're like, "We'll just pay you whatever it takes to fill them up." Like we didn't feel like doing that again. But yeah, we drove out to a place called Copper Harbor, which is way on the very tip top of that peninsula. The town was like snowed in, shut down. Like there's like no buildings open except for the one bar that was just surrounded by snowmobiles. But it was a lot of fun. The whole trip was pretty good. Megan's still in Michigan. I had to cut my trip short because of the new job. I was originally going to be there for 2 weeks. So she's doing a hiking trip tomorrow with her mom. And then she's going to be driving, slowly making her way back, stopping and seeing some other family for the rest of the week. So she'll be back Friday.
Gotcha.
But it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. Got to play some board games, not much, but got to do some really awesome snowboarding.
There you go.
Which is great. So
nice.
That's all I have for Banter. I didn't watch shit. I didn't listen to shit. I didn't do shit.
Let's see. On Thursday, I saw The Batman.
Yes, I'm so jealous.
I really liked it. I liked it a lot. It's definitely. I remember finishing it, and I was like, I like that. And then it's. I've gotten more positive on it as it sat with me. But I won't really say much more since you haven't seen it yet. I'll just say that it's a 3-hour movie, basically, and it feels like a 3-hour movie, but it doesn't feel too long.
That's good.
So, it didn't help that I knew that it was 3 hours beforehand, and so I saw it with Rick and Ricky, and Rick also has a smaller bladder, like some of you people.
Some of you people,
yeah,
called out here.
Yeah, well, both you and Jeff had to go during the show.
Yes,
right?
I have had to go to the to the bathroom during movies before.
Yeah. But he didn't. Luckily, he didn't know that it was going to be a 3-hour one, and I had figured that he did. So I was just like, when are you planning for your pee break? And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's a 3-hour movie. He's like, it's a 3-hour movie. And so he went to look up. There's like a website that's like, here's the best time to go to the bathroom in a movie.
Yeah.
And the scene that it happens, it says like, oh, do it during this scene, which is about halfway through. Yeah, well, when Jeff's not here, right? But it said, when this thing happens, then you can do it. It's about halfway through, and when that scene finally came up, I was like, Jesus Christ, we're only halfway done. I probably wouldn't have felt like that had I not been like subconsciously waiting for that point in time.
Yeah.
So, but it was a point. It was funny. It was like. The point was like an hour and 36 minutes into the movie, and I was just like thinking in the back of my head, I was like, man, Venom was already done. Like Venom, Let There Be Carnage was already done before this point that is halfway through this movie, because that was 88 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
it was real short. So, yeah, but no, I liked it. It was good. I thought Robert Pattinson did a great job in it. I think everybody did in that. So, what else did I do this weekend? I bought a recliner that I can't get until fucking mid-June, which is
Jesus.
awesome. What's really annoying is that I was trying to buy a recliner from Costco. Like they had one that I was like, oh, I like, they had a couple different ones. But they had one specific one. I'm like, oh, I like how this one, how it sits, how it had, power headrest, power reclining, that sort of thing. And by the time I had the money to get it, because I was like, oh, I'll just wait until I get my tax return and use that money. Once I had that, and then I had the person to go get that with me, I went there and they're like, we don't sell it anymore. They didn't have it. And the problem with Costco is like when they do that, it's like you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna look online to find this, and then it'll be like, oh, we don't have this in stock anymore. But I can like it's just like it never existed. So it's like I don't even know what it was called. I don't even know which. I was just like, I know what it looked like. It was from this brand, kind of maybe, but they have no record of it being on their website. I even tried to go through like the Wayback Machine to try and find it, and I couldn't. Their like main page for the recliners was like it was cached on there, but when I would try to like get any more information to click on it, it'd be like, oh, this page doesn't exist. And I was just like, God damn it. So I ended up going to 3 different places. Colorado Casual Furniture, which all of their stuff was pretty garbage. American Furniture Warehouse, which there was one there that I was like, this one's okay. But then they only had one available, which was the floor model, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Too many farts on this thing, I'm sure. And then probably at least someone's peed on it, right?
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. And then I ended up going to Furniture Row, and I got one. I got a recliner from there, and then I also got a lift top coffee table, because I was like, I'm tired of doing my Lego builds on a fucking TV tray.
Sure.
So I was like, get one of these so it'll sit up nice. I looked at some in like IKEA and stuff, and they were too short for like not fully going up over my legs, and I was like, oh, I'll get this one. But yeah, that stuff isn't going to be here for fucking 3 months. So I'm like, awesome, sarcastically.
Sorry, could you say that again?
No, you shut your face. Siri.
No, sarcastically. Yep. Could you say that again, please?
But yeah, that's basically all that's been going on for me too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go see Batman. I don't know when I'm going to get to, unfortunately, because like I need to find out if Megan has much interest in it, because if she doesn't, I might go Thursday.
Yeah,
before she gets back, because I don't have anything going on Thursday. Maybe I'll go to the movies Thursday.
There you go. Yeah, you should do that, I think. Oh, I do have two small things that I forgot.
Okay.
But they're both sort of related thing. Is that one, the season 4 finale of Game Changer just started aired on Monday. So if you have any interest on it, which that's the Survivor one, So
the finale
it's
already?
season finale. Yeah, they only do like 10 episodes, but they're filming more already.
Sure.
But definitely check it out. It was a lot of good. It was a lot of fun. It was on it's on Dropout. Their paid
streaming
thing, but it's definitely
it's been 100% worth.
100% worth. Yeah, exactly. And then also on that is Dimension 20, their newest season, Starstruck Odyssey, which has been amazing as well. It's like so far, it's probably been one of the best live plays, or not. It's not really live, but one of their seasons has been, and it's been real good. It's a lot of fun. One of the characters is he got like the call to adventure, and the first thing that he did, he didn't sign up for space insurance and got blown up, and so now he has basically a cyborg body outside of his head and I think his feet, but like he has to make payments every month on his body in order to live. And it's like he was at one point he was just like he was hyperventilating. He's like, all right, I need to calm down. They charge per breath. Just but it's a lot of fun.
Okay, cool.
So I would say I know you haven't. Have you ever checked out any of their stuff?
No,
probably haven't had the time amongst other things.
Not super regularly.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile though.
Cool.
I keep meaning to give it a shout out and then I forget.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
okay, cool.
That's what I got.
I think that's all that I have as well. We will start news and Kickstarter.
Right.
News and crowdfunding.
There you go.
All right, first up, Betrayal at the House on the Hill is getting a whole new 3rd edition that is going to have 50 all new haunts. They are upgrading their minis.
Which I do want to say, between the 1st and the 2nd edition, there were some tweaked haunts, but there were still some that were the same. So it's good that they're switching out there.
Yeah. The minis, they say they're improving them, that they're better minis, but they're not going to be pre-painted anymore, which I think makes them 100% worse in my
I would agree with that, yeah.
I'd rather have the softer, like, flexy, weird, bendy minis that are pre-painted than have to, like, fucking paint my own minis.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially because if I'm going to start painting minis, I got a bunch of other things I want to paint before I would paint Betrayal. But anyway, they are doing a few different things, a few things differently. So one of the big things here is the haunts, instead of just being where you sit down to play and you can get any haunt if things just happen to go that way, instead you're going to choose a scenario at the start, one of 5 scenarios, and each scenario is associated with 10 haunts. So you'll always have a vague idea of what haunts you might get. So like if you start to get a favorite group of them, or maybe if you're playing with new players and you're like, oh, these ones I know are good with new players, or things like that.
Yeah, or it's just like, it didn't happen that often, but especially when you're playing the regular, because it could be random. You could randomly get the same one that you got last time you played.
Yeah.
So you could do that here, or you could be like, oh, every time I play, I'm going to cycle through the scenarios so I have a better chance of getting something new each time.
Yeah, so in theory, you wouldn't have a chance of repeating until like every 6th play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you could do things like that. They're also going to be vaguely like themed. Like the ones they have shown here, I don't know if these are for sure the same, but it's Mysterious Invitation, Paranormal Investigators, Strange Disappearance, For Sale, and Cursed.
Does it say whether any, like the cards, like the threat cards or the omens or any of those are tied towards the scenario?
I did not see anything about that.
Okay.
But it might.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a lot of cards. I mean, that's basically four times more cards.
Sure.
So I can see them not doing that, but that is one, like, because it could randomly be one of 50 different things, right? It was pretty much usually generic haunted house until you get the flavor, like the themed flavor from the actual haunt, where it seems like this could narrow it down a bit more, right?
Yes.
So,
I think the other aspect of this, they talk about a little bit here in the article. They want to set it up less as a game and more of a game system. So this way they could probably release new like scenario packs.
Yeah.
things like that.
I could see that.
They said it's kind of the same model they went with Hero Quest. The other thing that was kind of interesting, I don't remember where in here they talked about it, but they are introducing a reluctant trader mechanism that basically is a way to pass who the trader is going to be to maybe another player. So like if you are the new person at the table, because it almost inevitably happens. You have one new person in a group of 6. You're playing for 90 minutes. They're just starting to get the hang of things. They trigger the haunt. You hand them the book and you say, good luck figuring out what to do. If you have any question, go bother Adrian because he's not playing, or go bother Zach because he's not playing. This is a mechanic that basically allows that new person, if they want to pass that trader on a little bit and be like, okay, I don't know like how that's going to work mechanically, because you could always have just done that. You could just be like, so it should be you because you have all those things, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we'll see. They talk about going through and reworking all of doing the 50 new scenarios and trying to really make sure they're balanced, because that is a complaint that people have a lot.
Didn't Widow's Walk was real bad for that?
Widow's Walk was, it got slammed for some of those being just, it seems like they never were even played.
Gotcha.
So, it's also tough because so much of like how a mission goes, depends on how the tiles have randomly come out, where people have decided to explore, how the houses come together.
I remember one we played where it was just like, this can't, like, we're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be so hard to finish it. Where another one where it's like, okay, we need to find this thing. Literally the first thing they do is explore an area, and we found the thing. And then we were able, like, I think it was like maybe one round, and then you won. Yeah. So that's always the risk with with randomization in these games. So
yeah, especially the level of randomization that they can have. So, but yeah, the price has been announced. It's going to be $55.99. It launches April 1st in Europe, and then premieres for the rest of the world August 1st. With you being able to pre-order directly from Hasbro as of about a week ago.
Okay, so discounting our Betrayal Legacy that we have over there that we still need to play, would you consider getting the 3rd edition of this?
I would consider it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I need it. I have also regular Betrayal or 2nd edition that I still think is just fine for what I want out of it.
Would it be one of those, like, if to see how people review it?
Yeah,
if they were like,
certainly I'll wait.
Yeah. Because I know because I have the 1st edition of it. And when the 2nd got announced, I was like, oh, maybe I should get this. And then I was just like, it doesn't seem like enough is different to change, like, to make me want to get the 2nd edition of it. But depending on how this goes, maybe I would get 3rd. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
because we have 2nd and Widow's Walk. We've hardly ever played with anything from Widow's Walk. It's technically mixed in, but it seems like it just never comes up. And then I desperately want to get back into our Legacy game. Yeah, because that had been being a lot of fun. So, but yeah, that's it for the news on Betrayal 3rd edition. Next up, no, clicking on the wrong things here, trying to move windows. Next up is our first in a series of bundles. This one is an epic $5 itch.io tabletop RPG bundle that is raising money for trans rights in Texas, amongst Texas being just the worst still. So this is specifically in response to all of the issues over the last couple of weeks where the state of Texas has made it to where parents can be investigated by protective services for acknowledging their child as being trans, which is super bullshit.
Yes, it is.
But so this is just a big bundle to try and raise money to help support that.
493 things.
Yeah, so 493 items. The overall value is estimated at $2,716, but they are asking just $5 for it.
This is one of those things where I know a lot of times I will jokingly say you're losing money if you don't do it, but
yes. It kind of feels that way.
It feels that way.
Plus, it's a good cause.
Yes.
Proceeds from the bundle are going to the Transgender Education Network of Texas and the Organización Latina de Trans Tejas.
Okay.
So 2 different trans supportive organizations based there in Texas. And yeah. It's I haven't got to look through this one. I really went deep into the other bundle.
Yeah.
To see what games and stuff were in it. But just as a chance to get a whole shit ton of different tabletop RPGs. I love having a lot of little one-offs.
Yeah.
Both for Mile High Dungeon Delvers and then also just to like occasionally mix up and be like, instead of playing a board game, let's play a quick like one-shot easy
How much
RPG.
how much has it raised so far?
It has raised, it's a good question, $275,000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there is still almost a month left that you could back this. This is like kind of a transition almost.
And it's just under 29,000 collaborators too. So that's still okay.
Yeah, their goal is 300,000, so they still haven't
Yeah.
met their goal. But they're well on their way with a month left.
Yeah. So that's still like an average of like less than 10, but that's still more than the $5 minimum. So that's always good to see too.
Yeah. So,
are there any notables that they say in there? Like
I'm not seeing any off the top, like just scrolling here. The top ones aren't any that I super notice. Yeah, I don't recognize the names of any of these in particular. But with there being several of them, like a couple hundred, it's entirely possible that I might not.
Yeah.
I have heard of World Maker, single player world making game.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Bunch of different games.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some good stuff in there.
Some probably better than others. But for $5, what could go wrong?
Yes.
Last up in news, similar deal. Another big bundle raising money for a good cause. A Ukraine charity has put together a bundle of 300 different tabletop RPGs for $10. This one includes Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Troika, and The Wretched. Thirsty Sword Lesbians is one I've had my eye on for a little while as like a really fun one shot, like just mess around.
I've heard some good things from it. I remember seeing it in at Gen Con this past year.
Okay.
And I don't know if Wes got it for Clue and Allison or like was just like, I don't know if he ended up getting it or was like talking to them about getting it. So
yeah.
I
think I've heard them joking about it as well.
Yeah.
So. This one, the charity is supporting relief for Ukraine because Russia continues to be a giant fucking dick.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, 700 different creators, 990 different individual releases, supposedly worth $6,500. Yeah. And I was looking through, like, this one has a bunch of stuff because this isn't just tabletop stuff. Like this top part here, like there's over 300 tabletop RPGs in it. This also has stuff like Baba Is You, which is a great puzzle game on computers. I have it on Steam. Yeah. It's got a bunch of little like stuff like that. It's just a ton and ton of games. Ultimately, for this one, the money is going to the Ukraine International Medical Corps and Voices of Children. The Medical Corps is a group providing medical assistance to the country, and the Voices of Children is an organization that supports children who have been affected by the traumatic experiences of war. So if you want to get a bunch of different indie games, basically, tabletop RPGs, video games, all kinds of stuff, just a bunch of indie stuff, you can check that one out as well. Yeah, it's the Bundle for Ukraine is the actual name for that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it for news. So moving on over to some crowdfunding, starting with Kickstarter, we have Illiterati. Very well funded, $147,000 of its $15,000 goal, just over 3,000 backers, and about 2 weeks left to back this one. It plays 1 to 5 players, takes about 40 minutes, and it is a cooperative word game. Yeah, I know, right up my alley.
Yeah.
I was immediately like, I think Megan and I might get a kick out of this one. So, for this one, you are essentially a bunch of librarians that are battling the Illiterati. They want everybody to be illiterate and easily controlled or something. I don't know. Or they just hate words.
Those sons of bitches.
Those bastards. And basically the way the game works is you take out a little book tile, and it will have a goal and then a like extra challenge. And so the goal will be something like 8 foods. So you will then draw a bunch of tiles. Everybody draws their amount of letter tiles, and then you start just making words. And so like the one they show here with the 8 foods, it also has these 3 little rain cloud symbols because some of the tiles will have those symbols. And so that just means you need to make 8 different words for food, and 3 of those words need to incorporate that letter.
And it looks like the color isn't tied to the letter itself, right? It looks like it's just a random amounts, right?
Yeah. So you might have an A in all of the, like, I don't know, I think they got 4 different symbols, and then they've got some I think that are no symbol.
Gotcha.
They're just like the black ones.
Okay.
So you can it gets a little vague beyond that of how exactly the mechanics work out, but it talks about working together and that you can like trade letters and everything. You've got a limited amount of time where you're trying to get all those letters together. Then there are the Illiterati do things that make you discard cards. So like there's a deck that you might reveal, and it might be something like anyone who has a 3-letter word has to discard 2 of those letters from any of their words. So like if you have, can, C, A, or N, you pick 2 of those, and then you have to discard them from somewhere. It doesn't have to come from can.
Okay.
But it can. Then you're allowed to keep a handful of tiles as your leftovers.
It looks like some of the tiles are like wilds too. Like that K, is that a wild?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the K looks like it has all 4 symbols on it.
All right.
But yeah, you figure out your different words, and then once you've figured them all out, you draw the next book and go on to the next round of trying to solve those. No real clear definitive like how the game ends. I think it might be one where I already know the way I'll play that is when I play it with like the not super gamery people that I play word games with, we'll just play until we get tired.
Yeah. I mean, it might be like, the card game Deep Sea or Deep Space, where it's like it has different rounds and you can increase those rounds, but it's still like you don't have to go through. You can just do a couple and then be like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
So it could just be like that. How many different tiles does it come for the objectives?
So there are 30 book objectives,
Okay.
15 red and 15 blue. I didn't catch what the difference is between red and blue. 20 different illiterati villains that have like their different effects. A 3-minute sand timer, so you got plenty of time to do words. You're not like trying to do 8 words in 30 seconds. And then 144 character tiles, which they do show down here. A comparison tile to Scrabble tile, the Illiterati tiles, and a Bananagrams tile. So they're pretty good sized tiles.
Like not as big as like Rummy Cube, but
no, not
like
quite.
in between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's only the front. I need to know how thick they are. Like, what if they're like 5 inches thick and we don't even like? It's like that's a extreme waste of space.
They got a little bit of I don't know, angle there on it. You can see it looks about the thickness of a Bananagrams tile.
All right.
And a Scrabble tile. They're all just the same thickness.
Yeah.
So
like a thick tile.
real thick. Yeah. So they have a whole section on here. I didn't read through it about the letter and symbol, the types and what they mean and how they pertain to literature and things like that. There are some wild letters. There are some blanks apparently that I didn't see before.
Okay.
So yeah, you're just trying to do things to make words.
Wait, go up. Sorry, look at the blue. I wanted to
8 things that fly.
Rhymes. Okay, so it's not just. It looks like the left one is like symbol based, and then the right one is
the
actual words that you're making.
Yeah, so the red one is like 2 4-letter words that rhyme.
Yeah.
And then the advanced thing of it is 3 4-letter words that rhyme, whereas the other one is just 8 words for things that fly.
8 symbols.
8 words.
Oh.
You'll need to do 8 words over the course of you do multiple rounds per book.
Oh, it's the amount of symbols on there is how much.
Yeah,
Are you sure that's not 8 tiles? Because that's Oh, that's not. I don't know.
It might be eight tiles and 3 of the. I
Three
don't
of-
know.
Yeah, that's how it looks like to me. But yeah,
was a
but it
little
looks like
vague before.
they're asking for different things. It's not just the same variations of
True.
symbols. So that is good because that is a good way to do variety for that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. So it shows 8 thing. Okay, yeah. So you draw. Sure.
Yep. So yeah, that's 8. Yeah, 8 tiles, and there are 3 on there. So yeah.
Okay. There we go. We figured it out. We solved the mystery.
Yeah, and they have to be things that fly too. So that's more.
Yes. Another layer of complexity.
Yeah. You don't want those things to be not complex enough.
No, that'd be a tragedy.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's Illiterati. Like I said, you got about 2 weeks left to go pledge that one. Last up on crowdfunding, we're shifting over to GameFound to talk about Pilgrim. So Pilgrim is a medium-heavy Euro. Well, I guess I'll talk about all the number stuff first. GameFound's laid out different. It confuses me. So this one is just barely funded. £20,000 of its £20,000 goal. About 300 backers, and you got about a week left to back this one. This is the latest game from the creators of Nog and the Nog. So Nick Case,
Okay.
who I know, and he didn't send me this or anything, but I saw it, and I immediately was like, well, why didn't he message me about it? But then I checked it out, and it actually looks kind of cool. So it's a medium-heavy Euro.
He probably gave a message to Edward, and then he did like give it to Adrian. Never did.
hey, forward this this copy over to Adrian so he can review it.
Yep.
Nope. Medium-heavy Euro with a Mancala movement mechanism, and then 18xx style tile placement, which that's pretty much immediately why I'm all of a sudden like, hell yeah. But basically, the gist of the game is you are trying to build up the best like pilgrimage route. So you take your little pilgrims. Let me scroll down here to where I can actually like see the stuff to kind of explain some of this here. Right past it. Thought they had a better diagram of like how some of this stuff worked. But basically, what you're doing is you're sending your pilgrims out across the board and making a path that stops at like different shrines or inns or abbeys and things like that, trying to make a pilgrimage to the center of the board, and then whoever does the best at that is going to be the winner. But it has a whole the 18xx style like tile laying. They're talking about like, you know, you're trying to hit different things on the board. But you also have to be careful because other people can use your thing. So if you make them too good, everybody will just come use your stuff, and then it's not necessarily giving you any advantage.
Right.
And people can block you if they see what you're trying to do. They could swoop their little pilgrim path in the way. Yeah.
I can't do my pilgrimage anymore because this other pilgrimage is in my way.
Right.
This road that will occasionally have some people on it. I can't cross it. It's just not.
It's just not allowed.
Not allowed.
Yeah.
What if I dig a hole underneath that and then it causes them to collapse and then I can go over their collapsed body?
Yeah. Yeah, so I found this part of the spot I was looking at. So the other thing it does, so you're doing the pilgrimage thing for end game points. Whoever has the best pilgrimage will get end game points that way. But you're also setting up trade routes around the board. And that's where you get your money to finance like further expansions and adding buildings and stuff. Oh yeah. It's whole on 14th century, European fun. So,
I mean, is there a Mediterranean?
This one is not specifically Mediterranean.
Okay.
Provincial 14th century abbey. Okay. Could be near the Mediterranean, I suppose.
Maybe, but it seems a little too more finely focused than a fucking sea.
Yeah, yes.
A sea worth of trading.
The one thing that I am a little nervous about, 26 rounds. So unless they are very fast rounds, it could drag on.
Yeah. And how it's 65 pounds?
Yep, 65 pounds to back this one. Down from 75.
Is this like a deluxe edition or is it just for the game?
It's just for the game. Okay. And that's the other thing with this one. They're only making 1,000. So like they're making 1,000. You can back them and get them for 65 instead of 75. Whatever doesn't get picked up through the GameFound thing will go to retail at 75. But then once it's gone, it's gone. Like Nick's very practical about knowing that he doesn't run a large.
It's not going to be
Yeah.
a perennial game or anything
No.
like that. Yeah.
No, he's doing one-offs and
Or evergreen game. That's what it was.
yes,
Yeah.
not going to be an evergreen. So
When is it supposed to ship?
October.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
Did you back it?
I have not yet. I am almost certainly going to. I saw it while I was on vacation and kind of skimmed over it while I was on a car ride and Megan was driving, but then hadn't got to dive back into it. Almost certainly probably will.
Have you watched any like playthroughs of it or anything like that?
I never watched playthroughs of anything.
Gotcha. Don't want to spoil the experience.
They just bore me to death. I've never had one that a playthrough of something that I've actually really enjoyed.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, maybe stop looking at boring games.
You got me there.
I do.
Sick burn.
Yep.
That wraps it up for news and Kickstarters. Moving right along, we're going to pass on listener feedback this week. One, because I forgot to check before we actually started the episode. And two, Zach does want to try to get down to IKEA today.
Well, and we'll let Jeff.
And
like if there is one, Jeff can read it. It's fine.
Jeff gets so much joy out of emails.
Mhm.
So looking ahead, there is possibly, probably, potentially going to be the 3 Ps of doubt and uncertainty. An 18xx stream here on the Maha Game Guys Twitch channel on Friday. Myself, Mike Jones, Andrew Kaiser, and Eric Legal are going to
Which I think it'll be Eric's first time being on.
It would be his first time being on the show. Yes, that is correct.
Mike Jones too.
I think Mike Jones has been.
Okay.
I'm almost certain he's been on at least a stream. He's been somewhere on the show, I feel like. Mike Jones, you've been on the show, right? He's in the chat. He can tell us. But yeah, I haven't fully confirmed. Yep, Irish Gauge.
Gates, that's what it was. Okay.
I don't know if he had told Andrew and Eric that it was potentially going to be a stream or not, because when he first mentioned it to me, he's like, it's the only way you'll ever get a stream in 18xx.
Yes.
I don't know if they know that. So
like, hey guys, we're playing it Friday night. Bam, and then oh shit.
Welcome to the studio.
Yeah.
So
You just need to somehow hide everything until they come in, and then you close the door, and then you just like have a very elaborately cloth that is concealing everything, and you just one movement, and it just rips it all, so that it shows off. Yeah.
I have never put that much energy towards anything in my entire life.
That sounds right.
But even if we don't end up streaming it, I'll still play it, and then I'll talk all about it next week, which Zach will not be here next week. So Jeff and I will be recording. Might have a guest, might not. Who knows? But might be in person, might not. I don't know. We'll see. Jeff does like, I think, doing the little swoop of DBC Arvada to record.
Yeah.
So we'll have more information on that next week, though. That's going to be it for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody who joined us over in the chat on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys, where we live stream the recordings of these episodes.
Sometimes, occasionally.
Yeah, most of them. Certainly the in-person ones.
Yeah.
And then thanks for everybody who's listening to this as a podcast. We'll be back next week. And as always, I've been your host, contact information, man.
You know how to contact us.
You know how to contact us. I say it a lot.
If you even care.
I was trying to get you out of here.
That's
Zach.
fine. It's okay. It's 2 minutes isn't going to kill me.
It might.
And then I will message you like, Adrian, you son of a bitch.
Anyway, on that note, as always, I have been your host, Adrian.
And I am still Zach.
Bye.
Well, don't. And that is Panda Jeff.
Oh, and that's Panda Jeff.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.